Hi, this is Carrie from Scrapyard Chicks, and I just want to show you our project for this week. It is this really fantastic magic photo cube, and it goes like this. It's got all of our pictures are cut into pieces, and you just kind of start opening it. You've got photos, and then you just kind of keep folding it, and you have more photos, and you just keep going, and it is just the coolest little project. So you can see how you can put all different kinds of pictures and stuff on here. It rearranges and makes them look really funny. So this is just a really cool and fun project that we're doing this week. And I just used cardstock, some pattern paper, and some sticker letters. But you could definitely add some other things to this if you wanted to, kind of depending on what you wanted to do with your project. I did pictures of one of our snowstorms and pictures of our dogs playing out in the yard, because I just kind of figured that would be sort of fun. And when it breaks the pictures up into pieces like this, it makes it really kind of funny to see. So that's kind of one of the advantages of doing a project like this, is you get all these kind of funny angles and stuff like that. So anyway, that is our project for the week. And if you're one of our subscribers, I'll be back in a minute to show you how to put our project together. Hi, so we're going to start out by making our little boxes. So you want to start out with a piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 6. We're going to go ahead and we're going to score that at 2, at 4, at 6, and at 8. That will give you this little half-inch little lip right here. Turn that a quarter of a turn, and you're going to score that at 2 and at 4. Then you can just go ahead and fold it along those score lines. I'm using a Bazzill cardstock. It's pretty heavyweight. You could use a lighter weight cardstock for this project. Bazzill's does tend to sometimes be a little bit of a trick when you're trying to get it to stick to stuff. So that's why I like to use a liquid adhesive. So go ahead and score it like this. We're going to trim off these little flaps right here, because we're just going to go ahead and put that together in a cube shape. And probably making the 8 cubes for this project probably took me longer than the entire rest of the project. It's very slow and tedious work. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to clip from the edge up to that first score line. We're going to do that along each one of these. So you're going to do it 3 times on each edge. And just go ahead and flip that, and you're going to do the same thing. You can use your trimmer for this if you prefer. It's just as easy to do with a pair of scissors. And then we're going to go ahead and fold that into a cube shape. Like I said, I like to use liquid adhesive when you're putting these cubes together, because I think it just holds just a little bit better. So go ahead and put your liquid adhesive on there. I like to seal my cube up first, like this. And then I'm going to stick the flaps down. And so then you're just going to, you can kind of fold them back a little bit. Sometimes it makes it a little bit easier. Going to go ahead and go like this. We're just going to put a little bit of adhesive onto each one of these flaps. And we are just going to go ahead and seal. My glue doesn't want to come out. We're going to go ahead and seal this cube closed. You could try to do this with super tape. I have a tendency, when I'm using Bazzill, super tape just tends to pop open for me. The one nice thing about liquid adhesive too is it kind of reaches up and grabs that cardstock, because sometimes it's hard when you're doing a shape to get it to stick down nice and flat. So we're just going to go ahead and put that on there, close that up, and do the same thing for the last flap. Let's quick do the other side, and then I've actually already done my other 7 cubes, so then I can just show you how we're going to assemble this magic photo box. This is such a cool project. And like I said, I did not think this up. This was a Stampin' Up! Project that I found online, and apparently it's something they've done before, and it's just such a... Okay, so we got our little box done, and so now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, we've got all the other 8, or we've got all 8 of our 2x2 cubes already, and we're going to go ahead and start assembling our magic album. So go ahead and put them 2x4 like this, and we're going to start with a piece of Scotch tape. We're going to start with this set here and this set here. And in your directions, it's numbered. So this is going to be our first taping. You want to hold those together so they're nice and square. Then you're just going to do a piece of Scotch tape going across like this. And then you're just going to lift that up. And then you're just going to put a piece of Scotch tape on that same seam. So we've got our first taping, it's 1, and then lift that up, and that's going to be 2. We're going to repeat that up at the top. We're going to tape that. That will be our number 3. We're going to lift that up. You want to make sure you get these nice and square together. That's what's going to make your box really work well together. So that's going to be our 3 and our 4. So we've done 1, lifted it, 2, we've done 3, lifted it, and done 4. Now we're going to do the sides. And actually we're going to do the sides on top, and then we're going to shift them. So we're going to, the sides, the tape is going to go the other way. So we're going to go like this. I'm just going to kind of separate these out a little bit. And then you're going to lift that up once again, and you're going to do that taped seam. Once again, you can just use Scotch tape for this. When you're all done, you can go back and reinforce that. And then we're going to repeat that same thing for the next set of cubes. So just want to make sure they're nice and square. And you want your seam to be about in the center. We're going to cover that all up with paper, so you're not going to actually see the ends of the Scotch tape. Okay, so we've got our 1, 2 goes underneath, 3, 4 underneath, 5, 6 underneath, 7, and 8. Then we're going to, what the next thing we're going to do is we are going to, we're going to go ahead, we're going to shift those middle cubes to the side so they kind of have the opening like this. And we're actually going to turn the top and this one and this one, we're going to turn those upside down so that taped seam is on the bottom side. Okay, so this is what it should look like right now. So your taped seams on the sides are right here, and the taped seams are on the other side. And what we're going to do is we're going to join the whole set together. So we're going to start in this bottom right corner again, and we're just going to do a taped seam right there. And I find it's easier to do across and then flip them up. So we're going to do we're going to do that seam, and then we're going to go on to the next one. And then you can just go ahead and flip both of those up. You just kind of tilt that back. And you're going to tape there. Oops, it's kind of starting to open up a little bit on us. And then you're going to do the same thing right there. Okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing on that other edge. I'm going to flip the whole thing around because it just is so much easier to work down here on this end. So then we're going to do that. We're going to repeat that same thing. So we're going to tape these two together. And we're going to tape these two together. Then we're going to flip that up. And we're going to tape it here. And we're going to tape it here. Okay. It's actually done. So right now what you can do is I would go through, you can use your bone folder if you want to really kind of make sure that tape is really squished down really good. Or you can also go through and add an extra piece of tape on all those seams. But I'm just going to show you really quickly how the project, now it's not decorated of course, how it's going to work. So we've got our cubes, and then you can see how that opens, and that opens. Isn't that the most fantastic thing? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish my project. I'm going to put paper and photos on all of my cube sides, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like when it's all done. Okay, before I show you the finished project, I just want to give you a couple of finishing tips. I've gone through and reinforced all of my tape seams with another piece of Scotch tape. And then what you are going to want to do is you're going to cover each side of this cube again with either a piece of cardstock or a piece of patterned paper. We've got 8 cubes and they have 6 sides, so that means you need 48 pieces that are about 2 by 2. Mine are just a tiny bit smaller, just so they don't stick off the edges. So I picked patterned paper that's double-sided so I can kind of make it work either way. And even though some of it's going to be covered up, it's easier. You do definitely want to cover up that that tape piece with a piece of paper just to give it a little bit of reinforcement. And then you're going to take some 4x6 pictures. and you're going to trim them down to 4x4. And when you're doing these where they're going to be split, what you want to do is you want to just kind of look at and make sure that where you're cutting them is not going to cut through anybody's face in kind of a weird way. This is kind of a fun project, so it's not intended to be a full, a nice portrait type of a picture. You can make your pictures a little bit smaller than that if you want for the full-size ones. And then if you do that, what you want to do is you want to still make sure that you're cutting it into fourths so that all of what you have left over is going to be your edge pieces. So what I've got my cubes are all done. I've got all my little pieces of paper are all cut. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover all the surfaces of my cubes with paper, and then I'm going to put on my photos, and then I will show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Thanks. Hi, I'm back, and I wanted to show you our finished project. So what I did is I went through and I took those 2x2 pieces of pattern paper and I covered every surface of the cube. And then what I did is I went through with my photos and I just started cutting them up. And I ended up using 6 4x6 pictures, and I used 8 3x2, which is a wallet size. I cut all my 4x6 pictures into 4x4s, but you could actually, on some of these surfaces, you could actually do a full 4x6 picture if you wanted to. Obviously on the ends, you can't do that. So you can just kind of see how this album kind of comes together, our little magic photo cube, and it just is really, really fun, and it just kind of keeps turning, and you just kind of, you can get real creative with the pictures and stuff that you want to put on there. So that's our project for the week. I hope you enjoy it and you don't get too tired making the cubes. I have to say that's probably the hardest part of this project, and I will see you next week. Thanks.